Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Arah, aka I Eat Zebra, and welcome back to our Euphoria Live after show. I'm joined by the lovely Chloe.
Hey, thanks so much for having me back, Ara. If you don't know me, I'm over at Girls Gone Canon. We're not on YouTube, but you can find us on every other platform. But I've been here every Monday, so thanks for letting me come join.
Oh, it wouldn't be a Monday without you. So, just so you guys know, MJ will be back with us next week. You know, the money calls, and our girl got to go secure her bag. So, she will be back next week with us. And I just want to say hello to everybody that's here. What's up, Eliana? Eliana is Chloe's
Hey.
co-host at Girls Gone Canon. So again, check them out on all the podcast platforms. We got Cool Gamer, hello, and Mina Ruth. Hey.
Hey.
Hi guys. Also, if you guys did not know, the other podcast that MJ and I are on, Preposterous AF, we are back from hiatus. Our first episode dropped today, and we got some very fun content coming up for you guys. I'm so excited for you guys to hear it. So
Can we get a tease? Can we get a tease? Just a little something?
I will say we recorded our Valentine's Day special, and it is a very, very interesting love story to say the least that we talk about. So yeah, there's
Sounds
some
bloody to me.
there's twists and turns, there's death, there's revenge. It's very passionate story. Very, very passionate.
But back to Euphoria.
Speaking of passionate, right? So let's kind of, I guess, your overall thoughts with this episode. How did you feel?
I'm kind of surprised because I think a lot of the fan consensus I've seen is not that people didn't like the episode. I think the episode was a straight fucking banger. And I think everyone's on board with that. Total banger. But I've just seen a lot of people starting to get frustrated at this point in the season with the story progression. But I loved it. I liked Cassie in it. And we're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to talk more about that. But I actually was here for Cassie. Good for her. I just hope that she ruins his life.
Oh, me too. Please, John Tucker must die. Nate, please.
Get him. Girl gang. I don't know. It's not going to happen, but
no, probably not.
I can dream. What about you?
One can hope. For me, I actually really enjoyed it, and I agree with my girl Kiri here. I am so here for uncloseted Cal, and I hate to say this. I am.
Oh no.
I'm on the Cal train a little bit, but I want to get this out before like people start jumping down my throat on the Cal train. He did not know Jules was underage. That was made clear multiple times. So I just want to say that. Even though filming without somebody's consent is still dirtbaggy as hell. So that is not excusable.
Now that said, Arah is going to look the other way.
Yeah, but now that he's out and happy and proud, I am all for him going for his best uncloseted life.
I'm conflicted in some ways on that, right? I guess we're jumping into Cal on that. I mean, I loved it. It was a wonderful. We had a feeling we'd see that bar again, right? And
yeah,
there was something really so sad when he gets thrown out of the bar. It's like the one community that he wants to be a part of that he's never been allowed to be a part of has rejected him. And it speaks a little bit too to like the toxic masculinity of like society in general, that like Cal, I mean, he shouldn't have been drunk, concussed in there trying to chicken fight Greg and Tom style from Succession, right?
I know.
But he shouldn't have been in there doing that.
Nah.
But that said, like it was so sad, him on the window being like, I had a lot of good memories here. Nothing's left for him. And so that's what like made him go fuck it all, right? And just like drunk drive back home and ditch his family. So that's very sad. And it's sad because like there's the nature versus nurture, like, you know, like Joffrey. Like Joffrey could have turned out probably a lot better had his parents given a goddamn shit about him. And like he straight up says, he's like, Nate, I don't know shit about you. No fucking clue.
I don't know who you are. You're kind of the worst. That damn Cal.
I mean, true, but damn, you shouldn't say it.
Yeah, keep that to yourself. Write that in a diary or something. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack with Cal, but we'll get to that. But I do kind of want to start with this lovers montage that we get at the very top of the episode. So there, I do want to address this now because I've obviously been seeing, you guys know I'm super deep on Euphoria Twitter, but a lot of discussion about Rue not narrating in this episode. So we do start the episode with a narration from Rue, and she mentions about how she loves Jules and like how much she loves Jules. And then with this beautiful montage of all these like different recreations. So we like start with Jules and like the whole like Venus de Milo, like birth of Venus, like thing going on. And then we switch and we get like the different scenes. We get like the Titanic with Jack and Rose. We get the Brokeback Mountain. We get why
Frida
am I spacing?
Kahlo,
Frida Kahlo.
Ghost with the Patrick Swayze ghost.
R.I.P. Patrick Swayze.
Yoko Ono and Lennon.
Yes.
That lover's embrace. Very sad and beautiful and haunting and tragic, right? Every single one of these couples has a little something tragic going on, except for Snow White. And that one is more of the opposite. So 2 ways it could go, right?
What I thought was super cute with the Snow White one is the little like stone slab, whatever you want to call it, that they have her Jules Snow White sleeping on. It says rules on it. Like it has rules engraved in it. I was like, oh, that's super cute. And then the note about like, if I'm like super unconscious, then like the only way to wake me up is by kissing me. I give you my consent. I thought that was so cute.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of have you ever seen that video? It was like a viral video of like this proposal. This guy had like rented a theater, and then like his I guess like fiance's favorite movie was Snow White. So they kind of like changed it so Snow White and like Prince Charming, I think it's that scene, they like look like them instead.
Yes.
So I wonder if they're pulling from that a little bit.
Oh, that's cute. Okay. Yeah, I could see that. That was like the sweeter part, right? It obviously laid out some of the groundwork for the episode of the tragic events to unfold.
Sad face.
Yeah, I was, last episode and last week, I think I was a little more negative on Elliot. I don't know. I don't mean to be. I just like, I don't know that MRFer. But I don't know him. These are my daughters, I mean, Gray's out here going to work to pay for our daughter's $10,000 suitcase of drugs.
Exactly.
Okay. Why do you think Gray's not here? Everyone, we love our children.
She's here to save moms.
Yeah. But Elliot was like really provoking Jules last episode and kind of playing with Jules' expression and like sexuality and I don't know, a lot of interesting stuff. And then like split right over on the other side. And then you have him in this episode kind of almost protecting Rue in some ways, but also kind of like trying to set it up so she finds out because he's sick of bearing this burden, I would say.
Yeah. I have mixed feelings with Elliot. And actually, before I get into Elliot, I just want to do a quick shout out for the super chat. Thank you, John Lang. What's up, John? Just leaving book club. So the book club is on Gray's Discord server. It's Mondays and Thursdays. If you listen to Direwolf City, I never know book club days. I got that once, but I'm trying. But quick question. How much dope you think Rue has sold?
None.
Absolutely none. Not a single thing.
None.
I don't think Elliot is paying for any of that. No. I think he's also getting free drugs from Rue. Unfortunately.
I wonder if I don't think he knows the extent. It doesn't seem that Elliot would know the extent of where those drugs are coming from. We had him blowing them in the bathroom and be like, no, we're not going to have that out on the bathroom counter, almost cleaning up after Rue went away.
Yeah, because obviously somebody could easily overturn, like, what the heck is this random cup doing here? Like, somebody could find that.
But then also the opposite, because like Rue seems to think it's okay, right? Like it's almost like him going to saying, I got to go to the bathroom too. How funny is that? And coming back and not telling her, like, I don't know, like she thinks he does the drugs. So in some ways it's just enabling. Obviously he gets guilty and he comes clean, which I was very happy about because I was worried he was in that baby about to be just like, let's just bang. Jules, let's just bang and not tell her. And I'm really glad he told her. Like, I was like, Elliot, you just moved up. Major step. Good choice. If somebody had to I mean, how'd she not know?
those two. Oh, first of all, Rue's been obviously high this whole season.
Rue
Rue's
walks
been
at a door. Oh, I smoked a little too much pot this morning.
like sure. As somebody that's smoked weed for a long time, I've never walked into a door. I will say that, personally speaking. But I will say, now that you brought it up, the whole sneaking, making out thing, but it kind of stemmed from our girl Rue being super high out of her mind and that god awful fake orgasm she
Baby girl.
and it
was
was her
bad.
first time. It was her first time like getting oral like pleasure, apparently, because she did say that like this is the first time this has ever happened to her. And for her to just be like so high she can't even feel anything, and that awful like like noise she was making, it sounded like a wounded animal. And I thought like Jules's impression of her was so spot on when she goes back and tells Ellie.
It was very funny, and then it was very mean in some other aspects. I'm like, you don't need to be talking about that with Mr. Elliot, who has his claws in both of you, as you both know. And that little jealousy game between them, which, I mean, back the fuck up. The one thing this show has, it might not always have the most consistent plot beats as what we want, but the one thing this show does have is like, you can excuse anything that doesn't work writing wise with that they're goddamn teenagers. Earlier, Maddie was all like, I love you so much to Nate. And I'm like, no, you don't. You're 17. It'll change. It'll all
absolutely.
like nothing means anything eventually, Maddie. Don't worry. This is nothing.
Yeah, you're gonna go to college and you're gonna have like your mega bad bitch phase, and it's gonna be worth it.
Yeah.
And you're gonna look back and be like, Nate who? But other than that, I'm just like, what the teenage thing. So kind of like focus on, I kind of want to talk about Roulette. If you guys don't know what Roulette is, that's the Rue, Jules, Elliot thruple love triangle thing. We named it Roulette. So Roulette, we get the, like you mentioned before, like the kind of like that truth or dare thing, like the, are you like, as Elliot puts it, lesbian power tripping, where Rue makes out with Elliot and she's like, oh, that's amazing. And then that you could see the look in Jules's eye, like Jules got offended, and rather than doing, because again, they're supposed to be teenagers, so the teenage response is, I'm gonna get back at you and be like, hey Elliot, you can look at me from here to here. However, they've already made out at this point.
Yeah, it's so petty,
like,
right? It's so petty. They're like, and they're hurt.
Tit for tat.
They're so obviously both feeling so isolated and hurt. And because they're so frigging young and dumb, they're just like taking that deep wound between them and stuffing more daggers in it for shits and giggles, thinking that it's the adult way to deal with it, kind of, right? Like, we're just going to talk about the elephant in the room, which is that we're both cheating on each other with the same person and drugs.
Yep. Essentially, because like even with Rue within Elliot, even, how do I put it? It does seem like she likes Elliot, but I think she just likes the idea of having a friend she could do drugs with.
Yeah.
That's not going to judge her the way Jules is. Like, for like kind of jumping ahead when they're in the car in the scene where she's drinking the White Claw, and Elliot, it seems like he's telling her, hey, you shouldn't drink that, more or less, because I know you've done a shit ton of drugs, so you probably shouldn't be drinking right now. Versus Jules is coming off more like she's babysitting her, like, okay, mom, I won't drink, like type of way.
Yeah, and the other thing is like, so like you can tell that Jules is so, I mean, it's exciting. It's funny because Jules has no clue what's going on with Rue as far as dealing / not really dealing / eating all the drugs / like Elliot is a racy, new, exciting person. And so the jealousy that Rue is feeling over Juliet is not, it's also very hard because like she's done drugs with Elliot and Elliot's hiding that part of him, and the edgy part of him that Jules loves is the same thing that Rue feels like Jules hates about her, right? And that is weighing them down. And then on that flip side, you have Jules getting attention from Elliot, right? And like craving that attention she's getting and that kind of vulnerability and intimacy, which is what she really loves, right? Like she really gets off on that intimacy of someone really caring about her, which Rue's correct out of her mind. She can't.
Yeah, and it kind of echoes
Awful.
back to Tyler a little bit too. Like in season 1, well, Tyler, Nate, if you will, when they're like texting all day, and it's like Jules definitely loves intimacy. She likes to be loved. She likes to feel wanted. Like you could tell that she's a very passionate person. And with Rue, that's why she even says to Rue, like when she's like, "Oh, I didn't know you could be this romantic," and stuff like that. And Rue, on not like sober Rue, is super into Jules. Like she's obsessive over Jules. Rue on drugs, however, could care less, honestly, because all she cares about is the next high. And it really goes to show you that even though she says, like in this episode opens with her saying, "I love Jules," her addiction is literally kicking her ass, to be quite honest.
It's not even just I love Jules. It's also like that's all you have left.
Yeah.
Everyone else is over it, right? I mean, Gia, you burned Gia, you hurt her. Like Gia said, when you do drugs, it's different. And now you have the next episode, you have Jules, the next bridge to get burnt. And like, I mean, that's the thing is like Rue is isolating herself. You know, she doesn't care what happens to herself anymore. She's isolating herself.
Yeah, because figure like her and her mom's relationship is obviously tenuous at best. What she did with Ali, oh my god, that scene still drives me insane. I know, Rue. But like she's just slowly pushing everyone away from her. Like I feel like the only person who hasn't like completely abandoned Rue yet is probably Fez. But once he finds out what she did behind his back, he is going to be furious. So that's one to watch.
Well, and that's a vengeful thing too, right? Like he wouldn't sell to her out of tough love for her.
Yep.
And she no longer is going over there now after that first episode because she got what she needed. She got her own connection with Lori. And I don't know, the previews for next week, there's some more Lori action, it looks like. It looks like we are back at Lori's, and there was kind of a creepy shot of a door with a lock on it that someone was in, and guessing that's at Lori's. And my guess is Lori's going to dry her ass out because, you know, Rue is deep end. Rue needs to dry the fuck out. She needs to take a step back and dry the fuck out. And I hope someone does that to her.
And figure the voiceover does talk about how like your mind is affected by these drugs. So it makes you wonder, in my opinion, it seems like it's obviously about Rue. The other part of my mind, if it's a misdirect, could be Faye.
Yeah.
But in my heart of hearts, it's more than likely Rue, since they clearly already have that relationship with each other, and it's gonna have to come because Rue's gonna have to pay up eventually. She had a deadline to hit for that re-up, and I doubt she has any money.
I really like sincerely to harken back to answering that question earlier again. I don't think she sold a single bit of it because again, that's Fezco's territory. So like that's the other thing is how many people are really buying drugs? Like you're oversaturating a territory and you guys have the same exact demographic. You hang out with most of the same people because you're 9 people on a TV show. But you know, like maybe the play would be a really great setting to sell some drugs. Maybe that.
Maybe.
What if Rue sells drugs during the play?
That would be hilarious.
Like actually, also a heist almost.
It makes me wonder if she did sell at that meeting or she just pulled up to the meeting.
I think she just pulled up, but I think her goal was like waiting around after. And I think Ali ruined that. I think that's what happened. So I think then she said, okay, fuck it all. I'm just going to keep getting high. Because that's why she had to have that elaborate cover story for her huge like Google plan, which is so fucked up because she went through and made a business plan in order to get Lori to say yes to her so she could have drugs to do.
Yep. Goes to show you she's actually smart when she puts her mind to it.
Exactly. I'm like, Rue, just execute.
Hey, please, Rue, just get off the drugs. Just a little bit.
No,
just a wee bit.
She's out there, you know. She'll come back, maybe. I don't know, dude.
I hope so. I really hope so.
I don't know if she's gonna come back to us. We'll see.
I don't know. My heart's with Rue. But know who else my heart's with?
Who?
Our other love triangle.
Oh no.
Oh,
Um,
no, 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 no. But yeah, I will say,
oh.
Maddie, baby, Maddie, just leave him alone. You could do so much better than Nate. And it seems like Nate is actually trying to push Maddie away a bit. Like that scene where like he comes to like the house where she's babysitting at, and she's like, he's like, "Oh, you seem comfortable here," and like seems like he's trying to. And she comes out with a bottle of Clico champagne, all fancy. And first of all, why are you taking the good champagne out of these people's house? But it's besides the point. That is besides the point. But anyways, when she tells Nate that, "Did you ever feel like I loved you?" and he's like, "No," and she just sits there and just cries about it. I'm like, you guys are so toxic for each other. Like,
I don't think she's gonna get back with him, and I think that
I hope
and
not.
her display in the hot tub, I think she's playing with fire, though, to
Oh
be
yes.
fair, and I think that that's gonna be a thing, and she's gonna have to walk away. And I'm thinking maybe, what's the over under on Mish coming back? Where's our guy? Where's Travis?
Like they made it this big deal for promotion. Like, oh yeah, he's gonna be in the season. It's like he's in the premiere and
Sam Levinson, comma.
that.
As I
Bring him
start
back.
my list of issues with season
List
2.
of demands. Bring Meech
My
back.
list of demands. Oh my god. For real, like I'm hoping Travis does come back, but I'm kind of wondering if due to COVID that isn't going to happen.
That is possible.
I'm seeing some seeds for what could happen in season 3 if we get renewed. I can't see it not getting renewed. We have the highest viewership of whatever the fuck, and HBO is pumping money into shit like this right now. They're happy about it. Like their content, the app sucks, content great, amazing, best content great of all of them. So keep it up, HBO, right? Maddie, I think, will walk away, though, one way or another. I think she's going to find out, and I think that will sober her on it all. I think she'll be like, wow, men really ain't shit, Maddie will say. Cassie,
I hope so.
I don't know. I'm worried, but I was proud of Cassie this episode because she did stand up for herself. And when she was at Nate's house, like she straight up like said, like, oh, so, like we're not blackmailing now. That's interesting. I'm blackmailing like shit then. Fuck you, Nate. And just that look in her eye, that look of crazy when she just looked at him, she's like, oh, you don't think that I can, you called me Maddie?
When he called her Maddie and she's like, it's because we were just talking about Maddie. I was like, oh my God, Nate. But I also agree. Ariel Otley, Cassie can do better than Nate also. I 100% agree. But I do like the fact that Nate does call her out on her shit. And I agree with him kind of on this point where he's like, you're not a good person. Like, you think you're being a good friend or a good person, but you're kind of just doing this to get what you want at the end of the day. Because that's really selfish. Like, if you're sleeping with your best friend's boyfriend, that's selfish. Even if they were broken up and they were on a break, like Ross and Rachel, it's still not cool.
And to be fair, most of us have been there in some weird triangle form, especially at that age. Like, shit doesn't matter, whatever. It is weird though. It's like, girl, you are gonna get burnt, and you should have just fessed up already and just been done with it. But it was that pull of Nate, right? And that pull of wanting to be loved again, which Maddie's feeling on the other fucking side of everything. She can change him.
I really love this comment. She can change him. Sarcasm, obviously, but yes, I think Cassie does think she can change him. Or I think just where clearly Cassie's going through some shit, and I think I really want to bring up again the conversation she had with Daniel at the end of season 1, where he's like, oh, if you ever think somebody's going to be actually into you because they like you, you're sadly mistaken type of thing. And as weird as it sounds, sometimes just like a conversation like that can trigger like so many other things that you've been holding back and like just spiral. Like I think of this interview with T-Pain where he talks about how like, he was already kind of like in a weird place emotionally, and then he had a conversation with Usher, and Usher's like, oh, you really ruined music. And he's like, what? And he said like he ended up going like in a really down like depression spiral from that. And I feel like that conversation with Daniel is like another layer to this Cassie thing and why she's sticking with Nate, because I feel like she truly doesn't believe she deserves better.
Yeah,
Like,
that paired with
feel like she deserves more, and
the McKay house party conversation is the other half of that, right? When she says like, maybe I don't deserve good things. And like, so I dated this asshole for like 3 years straight, right? Total piece of shit. Like I was older than I should have been dating a guy like that. That was a piece of shit. You know, like I did know better deep down, but it's that same cycle of abuse that like, you know, you just think it could get better and maybe it's worth it and maybe I'll stay. And then day, becomes week, becomes month, becomes years. Like, she's preconditioned to that behavior, and no, that does not excuse her behavior. She still should be held accountable for her dumb bullshit. That's my daughter. I get that. Okay, whatever. Let her go. But I'm like, I wore baby blue and pink for Cassie today. First of all, bring my daughter home. No, I don't know. I just feel like I see why it's happening, and she needs to not do that. And I feel like she actually like, and besides the puking, that sucked for her, right? That was a bummer for all in this episode in that hot tub.
Her drinking. Oh yeah,
Mood.
like when you hear the behind the scenes of like how they had to do the effects for the throw up, it's so funny. Definitely recommend watching The Tube. And she's like, I thought I was gonna throw up before like it actually came out. It was just gonna be actual throw up mixed in with it. But yeah, no, that whole like you even like from the beginning of the party, we see her drinking. Like she was drinking the entire time. Like it starts with the wine coolers and goes from wine coolers to her chugging straight from the bottle of wine. Like she just continues just like add on. Like you don't see her without a drink in her hand during Maddie's birthday party.
So you'll appreciate, you got married within a similar time frame as me, right? We did that shit. And at my wedding, on one of the evenings, there's a video of me walking around on my phone with a bottle of wine in my armpit area like this, like just blaring the Succession soundtrack, walking around outside drunk. So like Maddie outside just staring and being like, tragic. She's tragic when she drinks, you know, like when she drinks, there's nothing that can be done. She's just a hurricane. We used to call it Hurricane Chloe back in my day, but where I just, you know, I'm very, I guess I just become like a bossy leader that's trying to take people on huge adventures when I'm drunk. So I get it, because Cassie was having her own adventure, her own life adventure. And that song, that Sinead O'Connor song, is so good.
And the fact that it's paralleled with her and Cal's like drunk dancing scenes, where it's like she's drunk dancing by herself with all these balloons, and he's like slow dancing with this stranger who's he envisions as Derek. He even like the moment when he's like, I thought I lost you, because he thought it was like, I was like, why do I have sympathy for you, Cal?
And that's it, right? Like, I think that's going to be, I don't think we're going to see him again until maybe never. We might see him on a guest episode sometime, but I don't think, I think that's it. That was his exit.
I would actually, I kind of wanted to be his exit. Like, I kind of want Cal to not come back for a while. And I feel like if he doesn't come back, then I definitely appreciate how heavy he was featured, at least in the first half of the season. Because I know that's been a lot of people's gripe, is that there's been a lot of like Cal-centric screen time. Like Cal's had a lot of screen time. But for me, I feel like Cal's screen time obviously played into a lot of other plot lines. Because, for example, we had stuff that had to be resolved from season 1 with Cal. He's in the pilot. That whole situation with him and Jules still is an undercurrent into this season. So, like, we need time with his character. And it also helps us understand Nate a lot more.
Yeah, and, like, so Maddie has that tape, and there's definitely some promo stuff coming out that shows that will come back as a plot point. But Cal relieving himself of that tape and kind of, like, outing himself in the manner that he did freed him on a lot of counts. So, like, now Nate's whole, like, kind of flirt with Maddie to try to get under her skin thing that he's been doing, or whatever he's been doing, like, he is gaslighting her for specific reasons, I'm pretty sure, which is that disc. Yes, he's always gaslighting me. Cunt.
Yes.
Funny
He really
cunt.
is. He
He
really
is such a
is.
cunt.
And I
What's
honestly,
gonna happen there now? There's no Cal to be upset. That now it's like, Nate, your mission's over. Your life, bloop.
yeah, and it kind of reminds me of that fantasy that he had where he's like, "Oh, I just want my dad to drop dead," and it's like, well, your dad just abandoned his family, so see how you deal with that, because that Jacob's household is gonna look really rough, especially like dealing. Marsha definitely knew. Nate's mom definitely knew about Cal. It was very
Yeah,
kind of evident in the in that scene. Like she was very
like we talked about last week, that look she gave
I knew she
Derek, and
knew.
that, yeah, she knew.
Yes, she knew. She absolutely did know. And this kind of proved it. But before we get into him dragging them, I do want to circle back to Maddie's birthday party a little bit.
Ugh.
And I just want to say, as much as I gave Suze a lot of little trash talking from the last episode, I really loved her this episode when she was doing her little booty shake and stuff. She kind of reminded me of the mom from Mean Girls, like, I'm not a regular mom, I'm a cool mom. When she's like, if you guys tell anybody what went down here, you guys, your days in the Howard house are finito burrito. I was like, I love Suze. And then like obviously you have like Maddie, and then like, yeah, of course. But I will say she was letting them only drink wine coolers in high school. Like,
That's fine.
I'm not gonna bash her for letting them have wine coolers. But let's be real, these kids were doing Molly at the fair. So like a couple of wine coolers in a controlled environment with a parent, and the only kid that really got drunk was her own kid. So it's like,
And she took care of it like a boss.
yeah,
Yeah, I've got some respect for her as a single parent, man. It reminds me of my mom. Like, my mom was a single parent for a lot of my childhood. Like, she and my dad they got married eventually, but I just remember being young and like my mom working 3 jobs and, trying to put me through life and crap. And like, so she reminds me of that. And like, my mom was a cool mom. My mom had me young. My mom had me when she was 21, wedlock shit.
girl, my mom had me going into 17.
Ooh,
Really young.
bastard shit.
I was at my mom's high school graduation. But yeah, I'm not joking, guys. I really was. But
I get that
I
though.
will
Like,
say,
she's the
but
cool mom. But
yeah, my
like,
mom was always like the cool mom. So she like I was outside as a child, but that's because my mom had to be inside with me as a teenager. So I got to go live that life for both of us. But I will say I felt Cassie. I am a lightweight. I throw up easily. That scene of her throwing up in the hot tub. 10 out of 10, something that would definitely happen to me at some point in my life. I could so see me doing something like that. I wish I was joking.
I was like screaming into the pillow. It reminds me of a New Year's. Like, I think I had to have been like 20 or something. And I went to some New Year's party with some friends. I was very goth at this point in my life. Yes, imagine it.
Love it.
Yeah, I was wearing like dreadlocks, like fake cyber dreadlocks, like shit. It was like a goth New Year's party, like a bunch of friends. And they had a hot tub, but it was covered and it was an indoors hot tub. And I fell into it because I was so fucking drunk. So there was no puke, thank fucking God. But like, I think I just leaned really drunkenly against it, thinking I could lean there. And the cover just went, and I was just in the hot tub, crying, sobbing, throwing up.
I will say, when you were doing that, did your best friend say to her boyfriend, like, or ex-boyfriend or whatever, they're not together, clearly. And
No.
Nate said it really fast.
That was so good.
It was such a realistic scene too. And like, you said it so quickly. But I mean,
he looks at her too. He looks at Cassie really quickly. Like, for a split second, he like goes, like, just a split second, and you're like,
and then even Kat's like, you did say it kind of fast, and he's like, well, you're just agreeing with her. She's like, I have a mind of my own. If I disagreed with her, I would. Which we all know Kat would actually do that, because Kat has no problem telling Maddie, like checking Maddie.
As long as Sam Levinson lets her.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Trust me, guys. We're gonna talk about it. But I do want to say, when she's like, she's like, you asked me to go to, like, when you go to college, for me to move with you, you want to marry me, have your babies. Was so good. But yeah, Vanessa, I completely agree. Maddie was dead on with Nate saying it so fast. He really did. And I hate to be that girl, but like, no, it is different if I say to my friends, no, not right now. Versus you like, no. Like, excuse me?
Pretty
Was
firm
BB
answer. Pretty firm answer.
was BB asking you or was she asking me? Because I'm pretty positive BB was talking to me. Also, shout out to BB. I'm glad we had some BB this episode. I love when we can get her. She's always great for like a good comedic like relief.
Yeah, I love when I was dating that asshole, I vaped. I vaped heavily and I was BB as fuck, man. I was in that Adidas dress just puffing clouds. So I respect that. You got to respect the person willing to popcornize them lungs.
Actually, speaking of BB, let's rewind it back before Nate even arrives. There's a first of all, Lexi is observing everything. Everything. Lexi knows everything that's going on. But Lexi observes when Cassie quickly asks BB, "Oh, is Nate still coming?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's what Maddie said." And it's like, and then you see Lexi in the back, like just staring there, like, I bet you do want Nate to come. Because earlier on, when she's on the phone with Nate, it definitely seems like Lexi overheard that conversation too. Like
Lexi's using her observer mode like crazy. She's straight up. So in the back of that photo, she's actually like on her phone taking notes. Like it looks like she's writing notes for her movie. That's why she's looking down because she's just writing everything down.
No, I thought she was hiding because she's like, "Oh, these girls aren't going to be friends next week, so I don't want to be in the picture."
Maddie got that cute little scrapbook, right? But Lexi about to put out the ultimate burn book on stage. It's going to be Mean Girls, the Broadway musical at Euphoria High, and I want everyone to be ready.
Yeah, I just want to say what got me with Lexi's play is how they intercut the conversation, obviously with her and like Cassie. Obviously, she changed the names to like, was it like Grace and I'm forgetting the other one.
I don't remember.
Haley, something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever. But she does like in the auditions, someone says McKay. That's not Cassie saying McKay. Someone in the audition says McKay. So I'm like, girl, did you not change everybody's name? And how obvious is this going to be that this is about your sister and her friends? Because I feel like in Rue, like she is going to expose that whole crew. And it is going to be so awkward. I wonder if Ethan's going to catch on since he's
Ethan's in that shit. Yeah, he'll know. He's going to know.
Ethan's going to read and be like,
Lexi about to make a really cute curvy character. And she's going to be like, and then Matt, this very beautiful, strong character, made an OnlyFans.com. And Ethan's going to be like,
and then she stops because she has a nice boyfriend. I'm like, wait a minute. That's me. I wonder
Ethan, that's the only plot I've ever had, by gosh. Got him.
Yeah.
That play is going to be pure. Like, it's going to be Regina George walking into the school with the burn book pages copied and going,
that's exactly what it's going to turn into. It's going to be so messy. And it's like, I wonder, because they don't seem like they're really into theater, but I wonder if they're going to like go to support Lexi, even though it does seem like Lexi does not want them to be there.
Okay, so I do have one like qualm, and this is a theater kid qualm. This is from doing theater when I was younger. It seems like it might end up a musical, but will they like play that off as a metaphorical Euphoria thing? Or what? Because they keep calling it a play, but it looks not an episode. No, we're not going to do that. Settle down. Every episode is a musical episode in Euphoria, first of all. Ask Labs. But it just like seems like it's a dance number in Ethan's little scene in the booty shorts. So I'm like, is it technically a musical? I'm just like, Sam, you need to define this, Samuel.
Yeah.
Samson? Samuel? Which one is it? We don't know.
Also, Samuel. Probably. I totally agree. Ethan's going to find out Kat hates him from the play. If Kat doesn't say anything by then, I think he's going to figure it out. Can you imagine reading that and being like, wait a minute. Text Kat. So you don't want to date me anymore?
I feel so bad for that little shitlord. He has no clue. Oh my God. That's such a bummer.
I did love that scene between Maddie and Kat. But it's kind of one of those, like, when you give good advice, but you don't take that same advice, where she's like, do it, like, makes you, like, happy type of thing, essentially. And just because people tell you should like it, if you don't like it, then, you know, kind of listen to your heart and shit. But it's like, Maddie, baby.
She's like toying with it, and it is literally playing with fire because that shit drags you right back in. Like, you just got to cut it. You got to cut out the bad shit. You just got to cut it clean. Just
girl, block, delete.
Never talk to again. I'm sorry. You know, like a decade ago. So like, I'll level with you. I'm 21. I'm 29. I'm 21. And a decade ago when I was 11/19, like that shit would like drive me wild. Like I would get infuriated and like want to be friends question mark of my exes. But now like I'm not that age and I'm like, you just got to go because you're going to halt yourself if you just keep coming back to that same profile, to that same text message chain. You're never going to evolve. You're never going to become a truer version of yourself. And it's
you're
like,
not gonna grow.
Maybe there are these beautiful, magnificent moments in life where you meet the picket fence marriage you've always wanted, right? Like maybe it's like, this is the high school sweetheart and that exists. And I've heard it exists and people make it work. They work hard to make it work. But like, Nate is not predisposed to be able to live that life without having complications. Cassie is not predisposed to live that life without having some predisposed issues. Maddie is not either, like in that she actually values herself. Cassie does not value anything about herself, but Maddie does. Those two are the opposite reasons why they should not be with Nate. Everything Cassie said last episode was about her, right? Like she's like, you shouldn't be with her because you two are toxic. And it's like, no, he's also you're toxic with him, Cassie baby.
Yeah, everybody's toxic with Nate because Nate needs to go see a therapist. That's why. It's going through some shit.
I don't know what he needs, but it's something.
Yeah, Nate needs some help. But speaking of things that need help, I think we should address the rumor mills that have been circulating about. Obviously, we're halfway through our season, and you know, we've noticed a lack of screen time for one of our faves, aka Kat, because it seems like this whole season she's kind of getting Jon Snowed, where rather than saying I don't want it, it's more like, well, yeah, no, I don't want Ethan. Sorry, horrible accent, but that's kind of what it's been. There's a whole we're halfway through, and it's just a whole bunch of like, I really don't want to be with him. I don't want to be with him, but like, I feel like bad bitch Cat last season would have broken up with him by now. But there have been there's been talks that apparently there are creative differences on set between Barbie, the actress that plays Cat, and the writer, director, creator Sam over, I guess, where Kat's character is going. So it seems like her storyline got scaled back this season. If that's true, then I just think it does more of a disservice to the show not having Kat feature prominently because it's obviously noticeable. Like it's very noticeable, seeing as how prominently she was featured in season 1. However, hopefully maybe this back half of the season, if we do get that Cal exit, that does open up some more time for further characters to get developed a little bit better. But I will say I want more Kat, personally. I love Kat.
Yeah, it's frustrating, right? Like I hear that these rumors that are substantially just rumors. That's all they are.
Yeah.
But that being said, now that we've cleared the air, yeah, there's something about like it seems I heard it could also have been something about Kat's binge eating and maybe furthering into more disordered eating. And as somebody who has been very public about their weight journey, you know, Barbie herself, the actress, has been really public about body positivity and stuff. And so maybe it crossed a line that she wasn't comfortable with. And it seems that it is showing. It's not like he rewrote it. It looks like he cut things out. We've seen her binging a little, but we haven't seen anything else beyond that. And like the Ethan stuff has just been every episode the same thing. So it looks like things were just cut. And pacing wise, maybe there were just some more action scenes about self-destruction. I think that could have been a common theme up against addiction and Rue and Jules, for example, tearing themselves apart, literally with Jules tearing herself apart, you know, self-harm. there's a lot of good themes like that, and I think that's maybe what he was overall playing for. So
yeah,
who knows? And maybe this will just set her up to have a better chance for season 3 at something. Like a playoff, like an NFL draft, right? That's what that means.
Yeah. she's gonna come back later on. But we hope for more Cat. At least we'll see how that goes. I'm not in that writer's room, but I mean, Sam, if you'd love to, have somebody to talk to, springboard some ideas, you know who to call. We're right always here. We're here for you.
Every Monday, Sam Levinson.
Yes, every Monday we are here for you. If you want somebody to chat with, we are available at 9:15 Eastern Standard Time. But no, seriously, I will say another little thing I want to bring up, even though it's like a very quick moment before we really like unpack the Jacobs family, because I feel like we got to really get into that in a second. But Mouse's baby mama is asking about the whereabouts of the father of her child. How dare she?
Okay.
Dare you?
Yo, that's a legitimate question. That is that's the thing, is like, just like Fez has to provide for Ashtray, Mouse had to provide for his baby mama, apparently. So there's an issue there. I think this might be the hint to some of the stuff coming in the season for Fez, right? Yeah. Yikes. Seems like police are going to get involved. He's covering up for Ashtray. Faye's boyfriend, is he a narc?
He was the one that came in and gave the news. And I'm like, especially after he got arrested for Faye, I'm assuming he might be throwing Fez under the bus to kind of like, because the thing that happens when people go to, like, you get arrested and the way to get out of jail is to snitch on somebody else that did something worse than you.
And so, like, Faye being there is kind of, I'm worried for all of them. And actually, the biggest thing I'm worried about with that is that when we open the scene, they're watching a movie, which relatable that, first of all, Faye getting stoned as shit. Yes. So Faye getting stoned as shit watching Invasion of the Body Snatchers, is the remake, the 70s remake, is for real relatable, right? Like her just being like, this movie is so real, and Fez being like, yeah, it's so real. Blunt in and out, it's perfect. So as her boyfriend is knocking on the door to deliver this news, it's Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and it's Kevin McCarthy's cameo, who was the original main star of the first Invasion of the Body Snatchers. So this is during the movie. He's running through the San Francisco streets, hysterically warning and accosting everyone about the alien menace coming. And he's like, they're coming, help, help, they're coming, listen to me, help, you're next, we're in danger. Please listen to me. Something terrible. Please, you're next. Here they are. They're already here. Help, you're next. And then, like, you see him through the cracked window shield, and then he runs off and he gets hit by a car. Okay, so like he dies. That's ominous. But it's all played over while Faye is like, oh man, this is real. And Fez is like, yeah, it's so real. And he's screaming, you're next. You're next. You're in danger.
I'm so glad you caught that. That was also in my notes, the "you're in danger" line, and then that happens, and I was like, so Tina V, to explain what's going on, what's the Mouse issue about, at the top of the season / end of the finale. So essentially, because Nate got into that little dispute with Fez, Nate calls the cops on Fez. Fez house gets raided. So in order for him not to get arrested, he ends up flushing a bunch of drugs down the drain. He has to obviously make up for that loss financially. So he robs somebody, brings the money back. Mouse comes to go collect. He's like, oh, why is there blood on the money? And then it looks like he's reaching for a gun. And that's when we get the opener of this season, when Ashtray Mjolnir's him out. Ashtray. And here we are. So Mouse was killed by Ashtray. So his body got disposed of some which way or another. And his baby mom was looking for him, as she probably should, because he, probably was taking care of his child, I'd hope.
That bitch dead. That bitch is dead.
Yeah, he did.
The issue is that Mouse is dead, and they buried him somewhere, and the police are going to come looking soon.
Yeah, so Fez is definitely about to be in some big legal issues. And I
Because
do
he'll
want
go
to
down
say,
for Ash. He'll go
well, he'll
down
absolutely
for
take the charge for
him.
Ash. But the thing that
Yeah.
stinks is like what happens to Ash after that? Because they have no
CPS, dude.
Ashtray probably doesn't even have a social security. Oh, I take it back. Ashtray probably had a social security number from his birth parents, but they don't even know that information. They don't even know his legal name. Like they have no background information from Ash. So if Fez were to get locked up, Ash would easily be sent into like
He'd
child
be
services.
trafficked and lost in the system.
Yeah. He probably might make it out because he seems very resourceful.
Oh, he'd kill his way out. Or he'd
Yeah, he
like
probably
take it
started.
all over.
Yeah, or he just start to take over the drug empire, take over the family
Ah,
business.
it's rough. It's like I'm very worried because I know Fez will take that. Like Fez will go to jail. Fez is fine
Oh
being
yeah,
locked up if it's for Ash, but like, and maybe they can get away because the grandma's not like she ain't dead.
yeah.
So
Little
maybe Ash can, since
incapacitated.
he's not like a real kid, he can hide. But like traveling that border between being documented and not, like that is really rough. And yeah, I don't know. I'm worried. I don't think Fez is gonna die. If anyone's gonna die, I have a theory of who, but we're not there yet.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we're
No, we're
gonna
not
be there
there.
soon. We're gonna be there
Yeah, we're getting
soon.
there. We're getting there. We're getting there. Sad face. But yeah, let's get into my scene of this episode.
Your fave, your
My
fave.
fave. I just want to say I am here for all of. I just want to say Eric Dane this season. All of your scenes have been fabulous. Everything's been fabulous. Everything's been fabulous and awful and fabulous and entertaining and fabulous and awful. And I know I'm repeating words here, but that's because that's how I feel. Because a part of me is like, yeah, you tell him. And then a part of me is like, that's really mean to Marsha and Aaron. I don't care about Nate, but Marsha and Aaron. Like, just like, so we see Cal come in with his penis out, and he literally starts pissing on the floor in the foyer. And it is so funny because he's just like, doo, 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 doo. And then Marsha's like, yo, what are you doing? Put your dick away. And then Aaron, 2 seconds later, like, yo, dad, what are you doing? Put your dick away. And then Nate eventually comes out, but he just rails into all of them. He confesses his, like, what he's done, his infidelities in his marriage. And it's a ride. It is a wild ride. I,
We were right when we talked a couple weeks ago, though, that the mom knew. We knew that, as we said
oh, yeah.
earlier. Marsha knew. Marsha fucking knew. That's why she had all those letters saved, girl. What a loveless, sad life. Very sad. Even just like not even. It's interesting. I'm reading Ariadne right now. I don't know this author's name, but it's a good book. It's a good read, and it's telling the story of Theseus and Ariadne and Phaedra, and just retelling it from a different angle. And there's something so interesting about like you have the before where the pregnancy is supposed to change and make everything wonderful, but you see like people fall in love with their soul and everything in brevity that has come from their very loin and their flesh. And then you have this where Cal is unfeeling and hateful and feels nothing for these boys because they symbolize so much of what he in his mind sacrificed for them, obviously, not ever seeking happiness, etc. But it's just like it's a really complicated, complex, sad Grecian tragedy kind of
Yeah.
situation. It really I'm not standing Daddy Jacobs like you are. You know, I'm not quite as
I
I'm
will
not a
say,
simp like you are, but
I'm such a
I'm
simp.
I'm feeling for the complexity of the scenario. That's all.
Yeah. I would say with like him, so like essentially I do like how he called them out for being hypocrites where he's like, you know how many as Carrie says, you know how many men I fucked? Like when he says that and he's like and they're like and Aaron's like, Dad, what are you talking about? And he gets into the hypocrisy like, oh, if I was talking about if I was having sex with a woman, you'd be like, hey, Dad, don't say that in front of mom, rather than like, what? But honestly, Aaron just seems super oblivious to his dad's double life. He
So
was the only
dumb,
one.
right?
He was the only one caught off guard because Nate obviously knew, and Marsha obviously knew, and he points that out that obviously they knew. And I thought it was really interesting. They're all wearing dark colors except Nate. Nate's the only one in all white in that scene. And he's literally directly across from Cal in most of the shots. And it's like, you know how white's normally symbolizing like purity and innocence and all that other good stuff. And it's like, yeah, not for Nate though. But in this scene, he kind of is the innocent in the scene, because like for your dad to tell you like, yeah, even though I cheated on your mom and I've felt like this repressed part of my sexuality this whole time, so I've had to lead a double life, and that isn't even something I regret, but my biggest regret is you. Like, I interpreted it as him being like more or less like his double life and how that affected Nate and the way Nate turned out because of that. I'm wondering if that's what he means by his regret, like that being the biggest regret, not actually having Nate, like Nate being born. But then at the same time, Nate is also like all of the worst parts of Cal all manifest themselves in Nate. Like all his worst impulses, like if Cal decided to be like even shittier than he was, he'd be Nate.
Yeah. And I have to point out something that Ariel said in the chat, like, still have no sympathy or empathy for Cal. And like, it's hard, right? Like, I don't either. In fact, if anything, I actually have a little more sympathy for Nate, and I hate that. I fucking hate that, first of all. And I'm sorry that I said that, because as I repeat, I don't care about what men feel usually, but like Nate specifically in this, like, why do I feel bad for Nate? But it's like, it's not like Cal tried and he's still, like, maybe he thought that giving Marsha another kid would make her happy or be enough to satiate her, right, in what he could never intimately, vulnerably give her. But it's just so sad, because it's like, you then, because of your resentment for the life that you've trapped yourself within and what you've trapped inside of you, and for being everything stuck there, basically, like that you neglected Nate that much, and he still turned out like you, and you hate that.
Yes, I like what Vanessa 90 said. Nate represents Cal's shadow self. And I definitely agree. And we kind of brought this up last week about obviously Cal finding out about how Nate felt about Jules, and not only that, but realizing Nate was lying to him. And that's probably him going down to like, in his mind, what else has my child lied to me about type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, it's just like, how do I put it? He doesn't know how to deal with Nate because he doesn't know Nate, but he also doesn't take the time to actually try to learn Nate. And I feel like it's a cycle of him like putting that super, how do I put it? Like toxic masculinity, if you will, like restrictions on his son. And how we talked about like, is Cal going to take this as a time to be like, all right, I'm going to break this cycle and let you like, express yourself more freely. And rather than, having a mature conversation about it, he just gets drunk and is like, I'm leaving. But like, it does at least clear the air in the family. Like everybody, like all the dirt's like out there, like all the cards are on the table. Because I as much as I think Cal might not come back, I do think Cal's eventually probably going to come back. I feel like he's a super drunk. He's going to sober.
Yeah.
I think he's going to sober up and be like, maybe I should call Marsha. But I will say with him coming out, obviously he grew up in a different time, having kids. Like he could have came out sooner in a different way as well. Like the way he did it was really fucked up. And the way he called up Aaron when he was like, Aaron, your porn search history disturbed me. I was like, but when he said this stuff, I was like,
so there's that theory that's been floating around. I saw chat was kind of bringing it up, right? That we have the baby of the Jacobs family. And as Cal went to lift up the portrait of his family and take it with him, he looked down at it and he said, we all have our secrets. And that's a moment before then he turns and he's like, Aaron, you like bukkake. But up until that moment, he's looking at the painting and he's like, or the photograph, the frame photo, and he's like, we all have our secrets. And that that third child we haven't met yet is definitely there. So I think it could be a plot point to somehow make the Jacobs family relevant.
I hope so. I know we've talked about it before. I personally think like that baby, I'm throwing this out there again if you guys haven't seen that elsewhere, but I do not think that baby is Ashtray. I absolutely do not. It does not make sense because Ashtray's parents gave him up for drugs. From what we've seen of Nate and Marsh, not Nate and Marsha, sorry, Cal and Marsha, they don't seem like that type. And if they could, I think Cal would have gave up Nate. Let's be honest here. And that kid looked too old compared to Ashtray.
Well, yeah, like she came back to get him for the family photo and then dropped him back off.
Yeah, like that kid looked like he was probably like 3 or 4. Ash was probably like 1, maybe 2 tops when they got him. So I highly doubt it's Ashtray. But Carrie, I was just gonna get there. I think Nate killed his brother in some like in an accident, or maybe the kid drowned or something. Maybe they roughhoused and Nate like pushed him and he like fell and broke his neck down the stairs. I don't know.
Some maybe Gregor Clegane motherfucking shit.
Yeah, or like, I don't know, maybe like a childhood illness or something. I don't know what happened to him, but I do not think that that kid is coming back in present day. Like I think that person, that child is dead.
Yeah, but I think the story will.
Yeah, the story I think will definitely touch upon it, but I do not see that kid making a visual appearance in present day.
Absolutely not.
Speaking of kids, actually, there's a montage towards the end where they're showing all the stills. So after Cal leaves, you get the still of Nate kind of like just staring off in the window. It's actually funny because Nate's in the same spot that he was in when Cassie left.
Yep.
And he kind of like had both of them kind of leave him, which is, I see what you did there, Sam. But we also get obviously Fez kind of staying up. But in that like montage of scenes, there's a baby. A mystery baby, and it is burning at me because I'm like,
it's Rue.
Who is? I think it's either Rue or a part of me thinks it might be Gia, and I'm like,
I think it's Rue.
It probably is Rue, but it's just bothering me because I'm like, who the hell's baby is this? Where did this baby come from? She's sitting in a diaper.
In that whole vision, I think like, and I mean that whole entire kind of trancy visual, very much so metaphorical end of that episode that was going on, right? You have Cassie with the flowers, and she has the flowers that Nate has been secretly giving her sitting in her bathroom on the vanity, and that reflection in the mirror shows the flowers all around her. That's obviously not really her in a garden of sin around her like she's making. But then you have, I think it's Rue, because she's talking at the same time about loving, like she was saying earlier, I've loved you since, before I was even born. I'll love you after. And then the I love you, which is interesting. You talked about the narration earlier, and it doesn't feel like, I don't think that Rue like necessarily fully quit narrating through the episode, because she does come back at the end with that in between, but also the way that the I love yous come, it's almost like a heartbeat, right? As she's doing drugs and her heart rate is kind of faltering. And it's almost like an I love you, like a heartbeat. And it was very much so like I could feel the metaphor in my veins coming off of all of it. The church scene in general,
Lab
being
his
her father,
voice.
but not,
like his tux being like the same exact color of her dad's sweater, and like obviously intercutting with like her envisioning Lab as her dad. And just so you guys know, this man she hugs at like the altar, if you will, that's Labyrinth, the composer for the show.
Yes, and
he's so awesome.
It was talented. Such a cool scene to watch, like the back and forth cuts. And I actually really loved what he said. I consider myself an expert on the underworld at this point in all of my my podcasting, because I just talk about it too much with different shows and books that we read. But I was literally sitting there about to watch the after episode with my husband, and I looked at him and I was like, I really love the way that it seemed like the underworld with Rue, the way the lighting was and blah, blah, blah. And how when she wants to, when she wants to see her dad again and do drugs to be able to see him. And then Sam Levinson 2 seconds later was like, so Rue is between the worlds of trying to talk to her dad. And I was like, yes, I still got it. So that's good. I get the show, he said. Sam Levinson. But
Yeah.
there's that moment where the cross is very prominent and it pans down to Elliot.
Yes.
And commonly, when a person is standing under a cross, they're being related to Jesus in some aspects, right? Or the burden of bearing the cross. And the manner that he's sitting in it makes me think of two things: that he could be a sacrifice to come, as we've mentioned in the past. I think it's further details he could die. And I'll pair that at the same time with his room. His bedroom has quotes all over the wall, one of them being Slaughterhouse 5. Kurt Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse 5. You have the "everything was beautiful and nothing hurt," which is kind of this sarcastic comment from this time traveler, Billy Pilgrim, who was in World War II and had some really major.
I haven't read that book in a long time.
It's been a long time. I had to think about it.
I had to read it in high school.
I mean, Billy like goes on all these adventures and gets high because, you know, someday he'll die. That's his high, is chasing time travel adventure. And I don't know, him standing under that cross, I was like, Elliot, oh no, baby. Like, because not only is that sacrifice that it stands for, but also like salvation, right?
Yeah.
Like his death could be a wake-up call.
Like Rue's salvation, essentially, to get clean or something. Oh,
yeah, that's what I was thinking. But
even though I personally don't think, I think Rue is definitely dying by the end of the series.
Not the season, though. I don't think
the season. Not the season. We got way too much story.
I think a couple deaths have to happen before then. So
yeah, I could see him being one of those people like on the chopping block. I will say that.
Yeah.
But that scene with her, and then we obviously like it goes back and we see the reality of what's happening, and it's just her in the room just standing there like just swaying back and forth by herself.
It's so sad.
It is so heartbreaking because it seemed like at first I thought she was overdosing until I did the rewatch, and I was like, oh wait, no, she's definitely just dancing by herself in her room, like super just high out of her mind, like absolutely just gone to like a whole new like plane of euphoria, if you will. Her serotonin was kicking off in ways that brought her to the spirit world, if you will.
She was so close.
And I think that might be like because you know like they like refer to like obviously like certain drugs like heroin like chasing the dragon. I feel like it does seem like she is chasing after her father, almost like wanting to feel that love from him again. And I feel like for her, she thinks that's the closest way she can get to it, or maybe that's the way that her mind like allows her to feel that feeling because she's like suppressed it so much within herself when she's sober because it's too much to deal with.
Yeah,
because loss will do a lot to somebody, and even though Rue tries to play it off like, oh, my dad's death wasn't the cause of it, but like her dad's illness is how she started taking drugs.
Well, yes and no, though, because it actually came obviously during his illness is when it really
that's what I mean, like while he was sick.
So, but like, even before that, right? Like when from a young age, like they wanted to throw pills at it, right? For her kind of disordered thinking. So I don't know necessarily that that's fair because it is kind of like a meta commentary on, especially in America, and especially like in the aughts, I think it was a lot more common too than it is now. Right now, I don't think it's quite as easy to get prescriptions, but like it's commentary on, our age group, like them just throwing drugs at situations to try to fix them. And I'm not saying that's necessarily always bad. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it's the good choice, depending on who you are. But like the opposite is true too. Like sometimes it is bad, and sometimes, and I do think like, what was it when she was like 12 or 13? Didn't they like give her some sort of powdered something or other, liquid something or other, like Xanax or something, like some powerful ass, like really hard medicine that was not, it was not what you'd think a 12 or 13-year-old should be taking. I don't know. It just like seems like also there is that pharmaceutical aspect to it of like, she's been fed them for her issues for a while before that. And I like I developed like I got diagnosed for autoimmune diseases growing up. And like, there was a time where I could just have, Vanessa said it, liquid Valium. Like they just prescribed for liquid Valium. There was a time where I was able to get like Lyrica and other like painkillers and shit for my issues so easy. They don't really think of it, and that's when it develops.
Yeah, I definitely want to point out this comment from Warren Dudson. Excellent point. Rue's drug addiction was medicated from a young age. Absolutely. Like I know for me personally, like when I got my wisdom teeth pulled when I was 16, this is back early mid 2000s. They prescribed me like oxy cotton, like the powerful shit. Like they gave me the strong stuff, and I actually, because like my mouth was hurting, so I took it in the morning for school. And I didn't like eat or anything before that, but I legit passed out in the middle of class. And they're like, oh, because you took it on an empty stomach. And then now as an adult, I think I was like, it wasn't just the empty stomach. It's because I was so high. Like I still like that day, I just remember just being like all day, like just nodding and like, all like, and that's kind of how they get you, or at least that's how they used to get you back in the day. But there's been improvements because as we saw with Rue, she's taking, it seemed like she started with pills. Now she's dabbling in heroin, fentanyl, like the real hard stuff, like the real hard stuff.
It's really rough because it's like, so I don't know, a lot of people have that thought that like this show is not realistic, blah blah blah, and it's like it is in a lot of aspects. It's dramatized, right? Like it's very much focused and dramatized on the issues and like escalates them to be the most important thing. This might not be everyone's high school experience or school experience, but I know that there were like, I did radio in high school. I was a big radio nerd, and I knew all the other dudes and radio. I found out, I didn't find out till later, but like I found out my like past senior year that they all were doing heroin. And I had no clue. And there was a huge heroin problem in my city, apparently. Had no clue. I was just la-di-da, in and out. And so like, it's not unheard of, unseen of. Obviously the kids in their community, right? Like have a disposable income from their parents pretty easily usually. Some of them don't, but the ones we see do. A lot of them do.
Nate bought Maddie a Tiffany necklace for her birthday present. Like,
right. So that on top of pharma.
If my high school boyfriend was getting me a Tiffany necklace in high school, I see why Maddie thought about
it. Right?
Not saying you guys should. Materialism doesn't help things, guys. I'm joking here.
No, but he's really smooth, like fiscally smooth. Yeah. That takes you off your feet when you're a kid, especially because like you're told from a young age you should be successful in life or whatever and productive and make money for whatever reason to be happy.
And Maddie's goal seems to just be like the people she babysits for. She wants to be like the wife. Like, I want to collect vintage couture gowns and live with my rich husband in our beautiful home. That's all I want. Don't want to do anything else. And I think for Maddie, where obviously Nate's family, they do have money. I think that could be a factor as to why she's still so attached to him, because she's afraid maybe she won't find someone else like that again.
Security.
But still, like, yeah. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about the fur coat from last season that he had got her. Like the one Sharon Stone wore. I'm like, bro.
Money and security is her turn on. And I got that.
Yeah. Just, you could find better than Nate.
Agreed. I mean, girl, give it a year and a half. You can go pull up in your cute little outfit at a bar and just get these old kids to buy you a drink and you'll be good.
Travis. And see Travis again.
Yeah. Oh, that too. Travis would be great too. Anything but Nate. I'm in the anything but Nate club.
Yeah, for Cassie too. Anybody but Nate. Like Cassie needs a hug.
Cassie, so I would say girlfriend.
Yeah.
Some Pepto-Bismol at least, okay?
Some Advil, a nap.
Maybe a jug of coconut water.
Something. Some Pedialyte. But I'd say, what are some like I think we kind of covered most of the kind of beats from this episode. Any big predictions you have for next week? I know we kind of briefly talked about them a little bit.
Next week.
I think we might finally get our Gia episode.
Yes, I've been seeing a lot of chatter out there in the crowd. Gia episode. I think so. It seems like there's some drama, some cop cars going off. A lot of people were like, oh, it was a fake out. We only got cops in the first half of the season. No, baby. They're coming back in a big way, probably for Fezco. There's a shot in the trailer, like I said earlier, of like a door with a padlock on it. And I think it's looking way more intimidating than it's meant to be in the long run. Like it's a fake out as well. I think that Rue's going to get dried out like a raisin. I think that Lori's going to put her in a room and say, you stupid bitch, you did half my drugs and I really don't want to murder you because you're a high schooler. So you're going to sit in there, dry out, and sell the rest of this shit for double the fucking price.
Welcome to the job. I would actually like that for her, but I definitely think it might be the Gia episode because we do get you see the brief little clip that was in the trailer of Rue, her dad, looking into the hospital nursery. We also get that clip of Gia and her mom, she's laying in her mom's lap crying. Mm-hmm. And we still haven't seen from the trailer. There's a clip of Rue and her mom getting a huge fight, and we also see Gia in the car with her mom after that fight. And there's a clip of Rue running down the street, and she's wearing the same exact outfit that all of this is happening in. So I'm wondering if the cops are coming for Rue because her mom called them on her.
I don't know. I hope not.
But I'm wondering if Rue's acting super erratic. Honestly, I'd rather the cops come to see Rue than for them to see Fez because I need more Fez and Lexi, and I want them to have more time together so the cops can go, I don't know, put Rue in the hospital to detox or something like that. Just leave Fez alone so him and Lexi can love each other and he can show up to her play with flowers and a beautiful card and congratulate her at the end. That's all I want. That's all.
Here's my prediction. That ain't happening, bitch.
It's not happening.
But I will say, in lieu of that, I think Lexco is gonna not go ... I think that Lexco will not ever be canonized. It will not be a thing. It will be an unrequited ship for all of us that we will never see lived out. I think that Lexi will, maybe confide in him another time, I hope. But I think that she's going to be sad and he's going to go his separate way, probably to prison. And she's going to go her separate way, probably to graduation. And
Ethan.
And Ethan. Maybe I think that might be a plot in the future they're thinking about because that look between them was interesting. Ethan was all like, and she was all like, maybe. I mean, maybe you need a nice boy. I dated assholes in high school, and after high school, I was like, what if I dated a nice boy? And it turned out good, I guess, or whatever. So maybe you need a nice boy. Maybe Lexi does.
Just kidding. But no, you could use a nice boy.
Once in a while.
I was going to bring up a really bad quote from Game of Thrones, but Alicia's not here, so she can be the only one that does that. If you guys know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But, next episode, Cassie gets her ass beat by Maddie.
I don't know. I don't think Maddie's going to beat her ass. I think Maddie's going to be over it. Both of them, though. Be like, bye.
As much as I want Maddie to beat her ass, I think if Kat, BB are present, I think they'll stop her. Maybe not BB. BB is world star in the background, but I think Kat might try to put a stop to it. She's the world star. That would be BB while she vapes, but I think Kat might try to stop it.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like it could be.
No, don't do that. Her rumors that Ali might die. That would be one. That would definitely be the one for Rue. Because if he ODs or something like that, I feel like that might hit her a little.
Or on the flip side, maybe it wouldn't, and that would be even worse.
And make her just go in a further spiral. That I could definitely see that.
Shit. I don't know.
Oh, I forgot that. Yeah, Sydney Sweeney did say that she got her toe broken in a scene by Alexa Demi.
That's cool. That's cool as fuck, though. I can't wait to watch that.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that means that there's going to be a smackdown.
Hey, that's nothing. She should be happy it was just a toe.
Right, not your face. As Maddie should do it.
I think we're gonna see a lot of play stuff next week start to get constructed. We're at the halfway point, so like shit has to start ramping up, right? So any craziness that we've seen in the last couple episodes now has to dial it up just a little bit, intense wise. Just blah.
Yeah, like this Maddie, Nate, both love triangles need to come to a head, and it looks like I really do think Elliot and Jules might just do their own thing. Oh my gosh, Caroline. All right, I'm gonna need you guys all to go in timeout.
I'm sorry, I've
will die because
suddenly
of
been
Rue's suitcase.
unable to hear or read.
It was foreshadowed in episode 1 when he said he trusted her with his life. Carol, what girl? Don't do this to us. Please don't do this to us.
Now, why would you say something like this to me? If I understood those words in a sentence together, which I don't, which I do not understand.
I mean, I could see it too. I mean, that is the common thing when you're in the drug business. You either end up dead or
die
in jail. So
someone's gonna fucking die this season, dude. I think that's the big takeaway.
So.
Someone. I think Elliot, Fez, Faye, even any of this. There's a list. Ali, fuck off. God, you guys, why are you guys such?
I have a list of who I don't want to die.
Yeah, because there's only 3 characters left. Shit.
Pretty much. Just leave Lexi alone.
Yeah. Lexi's going to live through all this. She's going to be that queen in the North life. Everyone's going to hate her. They're going to be like, how come Lexi came out of this okay?
Because I just wrote down everything you guys did and made a play about it. Duh.
Lexi's over here like, because I've got 20,000 followers on Twitter and I'm verified now while you guys have been busy fighting, fucking, and doing drugs.
That's definitely going to end up being Lexi.
Lexi
live her best life.
Blue check.
I love it. I love that for her. But yeah, no. Oh no, don't. All right, you guys. We're going to stop killing off our characters in the chat because you guys are making me sad. Unless it's Nate.
Who?
We don't. Nate Jacobs. We don't.
Who? I don't know him.
Never. But I was going to say, I think we kind of covered everything today.
Yeah, that was this week.
Yeah, it's been fun hanging with everybody. Oh, we do want to, we have a little challenge for you guys. We would love to get any of the actors or, anybody in the crew or something like that to join us for an episode. We would love to get our favorite live tweeter, Angus Cloud, to join us. So if you guys want to, spam him a little bit and let him come hang out with us, all of us one day. That'd be nice.
Yeah, we want Angus Cloud so bad. We just keep talking about how we want to smoke a blunt with Angus Cloud.
Yes.
Off the camera, because that's probably not legal fully to disclose. But we want to
YouTube let me do it.
Yeah, right. We want to vibe with Fezco with y'all. So if you're on Twitter or on the Instagram and you're storying or tweeting or fleeting, wait, they removed that. There's no more fleet. But tweeting, whatever, hit Angus Cloud up. Be like, hey, go hang out with Arah and Chloe and Gray.
Yeah, we'd love to.
Just welcome. Open invite.
So you guys, we should all work as a team and make this happen.
Yeah.
Like, we need you here. And hopefully his manager says it's okay.
Because he wasn't allowed to watch the season. So that to me says it would be authentic if he came on.
I think it would. He can give us predictions of things that he doesn't know about, which seems to be a lot because he said he didn't even remember what this episode was about when it aired.
And that it was crazy once he did pay attention.
Oh, yeah. Because we love him so much. We do. And we want him and Ashtray to be safe.
Ashtray. Yes.
But it's been fun. We will see you guys next week. We will be most likely on Gray's channel. So you could subscribe to her at Gray Area, all one word. Or if you go onto the Euphoria playlist on this channel, you should see a link to the episode 3 review that we did on her channel. So find everything over there.
Yes.
But before we sign off, just a little announcement again. Preposterous AF, we are back from hiatus. Our first episode of 2022 dropped today, so check that out on all podcast platforms. And while you're at it, check out the Girls Gone Canon podcast. Oh wait, the arrow pointing with the wrong way.
Yeah, you can find us over at Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, Acast, Amazon Podcast, Pandora, you name it. We're all over. We're covering A Song of Ice and Fire POV character chapter by chapter. So one character at a time, all of their chapters within that time that we cover them for. Or we're also covering His Dark Materials and also the adaptation, the BBC HBO production of His Dark Materials.
I can't wait for that to come back.
Soon. Well, the fall,
every time,
but
yeah. We'll get there. We'll get there eventually. There's a clip of I saw a clip of Lyra that tied me over in the what's to come for HBO.
I'm excited more. I think we're gonna get some good teasers soon for that too. So
yes, that and another big teaser I'm waiting for is House of the Dragon. So
yes.
I think we're all waiting for that one. But
I think we all are.
Yes, it's been fun. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We will see you next week. So bye.
Bye.
And I'm gonna do that thing where I just dance and stuff until it actually ends.